All right guys, so today we're gonna work on fixing the Betta tank. All right, so I already removed the dividers and I am deciding if I want to remove the substrate because putting it back in is probably gonna be a pain. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of measuring the length. So I want this to go inside. So we're gonna cut it probably right here between the second to last and the last hole, and then cap it right there. I'm probably just gonna take a fine tooth saw and just cut it so it doesn't get too snaggly. And then now I just gotta measure the distance from the back to where the hose is and from the top to where the hose starts, so I can start making holes in the corner. What I did order was these hole saw bits off Amazon. I think this was like 15 bucks. So they just got here. Thank God for Amazon, you know, delivering on Memorial Day. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure it out and then I will show you guys the cutting process. Okay, so I figured it out. What I have to do is just press it really hard on there and then go for it. Just on there tight. Okay. All right, on there tight. Better if I do it with two hands. All right, and there we go. Let's see what the hole looks like. All right. So that's good enough. All right, that's actually not too bad. So it didn't create as many things. I mean, I call them frazzles or grizzly pieces. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, you know, I mean, it's not bad. It actually looks pretty clean if I can get the hole right. So what I'm gonna do is stick all four pieces together and drill exactly where I want it to be, which I've measured. It's gonna be 1.5 inches from the back and almost 3 inches from the bottom. So I'm gonna measure that out and get that taken care of. At the same time, I'm gonna use this saw. Just one of the saws that I found that might work. It's got really fine teeth and can't even see it. It's got really fine teeth. I'm gonna use this to cut right between the first and the second hole. And then take these hole punchers and punch holes along the back. Now what I meant was, I'm gonna try this one right here. Punched it. It's a clean hole. Clean hole, no little frazzles. And if you drilled it, you know, you'll get all the little shavings of plastic. All right, get that done. All right, somehow trying to grip the phone between my arm and my leg, but just to show you guys that this is working really good. I tried using the clamps, but the clamps weren't going along the cylinder too well. Got my phone, but yeah, it's pretty good cut, pretty clean cut. I think I'm gonna take a file to it and file it out just so this cap can stick better and make it nice and even. All right, smoothened it out. What's interesting is that this tube is thicker on the side that they put the holes in. I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's just like a manufacturing defect, but I found that interesting. But yeah, nice and smooth. Let's see if the cap fits on here. Oh, perfect, it's just a rubber cap. And it's gonna go in the hole. All right, you guys are still with me, following along. We've got this whole mess that we've got to figure out what to do with. Options are 1, try to jam in the dividers without removing the substrate, and 2, removing all the substrate and then starting from, you know, the beginning. So the bad thing is all this here, it's going to be mixed up with all the lava rock. Good thing is, just by doing this, I think I can separate it and wanting to do it right, I think we're just gonna separate it and start from the beginning. So give me a second while I clean up all the substrate and we'll go from there. All right, so I got about 95%, maybe even close, 98% of it all out, but the fluvial stratum is definitely leaving its mark. But yeah, I mean, it was fairly easy to separate, not too bad, but let's go ahead and get all these pieces in and we'll check the fitment. Yeah, so it's kind of like how it looks like. I did 1.5 inch separation for the top and I did 1 inch for the sides. Probably 1.5 all around would have been fine. I think for my personal taste, it looks like there's too many holes along the back, but they'll go like this, and then the spray bar will fit snugly in the back. All right, so the dividers are in, nice and evenly spaced. And now, this is the one that we cut off the tip. Almost thought I did cut it the wrong way. All right, so we're gonna put it through, but we might have to put it in sections. Hopefully I didn't break that. All right. So, first part. Okay, so cut it slightly too low. Hopefully that isn't gonna be an issue. It's just gonna have to angle down a little bit. The only thing that I would have changed is cutting it a little more closer to the top, because this guy is bending down to get there, but other than that, it looks really good. Probably would have rather had it closer to the top anyways, but so far so good. Let's check the intake. I had a couple of these suction cups to hold it in place, but we're gonna have to move those guys to fit the new placement. See if I can get the light on so we can see a little bit better. Nope, it's still hard to see. So let's just make sure all of the spray bar holes are facing the right direction. All right, I think that's somewhat good. And then let's prime the filter again. And let's let it rip. There we go. It looks really good so far. I think we have success, guys. I don't know if you guys can see. Got the flow in all sections. It's almost perfect. Now the reason I wanted to do it this way is because ultimately I'm gonna have the heater in this compartment, this section. And when the intake sucks out the warm water, it'll distribute it evenly, hopefully evenly, across the rest of the partitions. So that way I can stick with having one heater, minimal holes, with as much flow as we can get. So I'm gonna run this for a little bit, see if the water clears, and then we'll start adding back in the substrate. But I think we did really good. All right, guys, so finally tank settled in. It is pretty close to how I imagined it to be. I just kind of sorted out more of the substrate, so it got a little bit cloudy, but it was pretty clear. The flow is perfect. I added a intake filter sponge and then that kind of slowed it down a little bit more. If you look at the water level, this does have a little bit less, and it's just because, you know, it's intakes right there. It's just taking in from there, but it doesn't change at all, so that's perfect. I tried adding a little bit more water, but it turns out to be the same. So yeah, that's the setup. Once I get a lid, I can raise the water levels, and that will utilize the top holes. I mean, essentially, I don't think it needed them, but just for safe measures, so I didn't have to do it again a third time. But it looks like, you know, with all the holes in the back and the spray bar, you know, slightly faced upwards, makes it really good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a heater. It's a brand new Higer one I got, 100 watts. It should be more than enough for this tank. And I'm just gonna put it back here next to the intake, so it gets as much warm water as it can to spread evenly throughout. And then, you know, after a little bit, we'll do a temperature test to see if there's any fluctuation between the compartments. And then fingers crossed if there isn't, then we'll just let it run. Probably do a water change, because I do have the stratum in here and it is leaching ammonia. So do a water change, make sure we test our parameters, and then hopefully add the fish. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.